Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Frequency 140. As always, I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. Sean Bennett.
What up?
And today's episode is predicting the biggest flops of 2025.
Okay.
As you know, with a new year, a bunch of new movies, we all get to see the whole run-up, the slate of all the new films that we're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we also know that not all of them could be hits.
Here we go.
2025 biggest
Okay.
flops. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started. And a lot of people may think, or may hate me for this one. I'm going to put Minecraft on here. And the reason why is because, again, like we said earlier in a previous show, it's like there's nothing to tag on to. And I love Jack Black, dude. He's great. But I don't know how he's going to save this one.
So I am the same way. I don't see any.
I mean, even the game. I mean, yeah, okay, it's the biggest selling game of all time. I get it. But, even in the game, there's like a minimal story mode. I think there's one that was later brought in, but the original first Minecraft, you start out with a little pickaxe.
You just building stuff.
Yeah, you just build stuff. That's it. Which is a great concept
if you're playing
a
the
video
game.
But for a motion picture, man, and I think this one's gonna fail.
I agree with you on this one.
Sorry, Jack.
Love you, but
yeah. So what about you, man?
One of the bigger flops, and this for me, I'm going to get flack for, but I said it earlier in an earlier video. I don't think Captain America is going to do as good as they think it's going to. I think it's going to, even with Sam Wilson and the new Captain America and the Red Hulk and all these things, I just think that it's, I think it's just too much in one.
Okay. I see what you're saying. It is a lot.
It's a lot.
You got the leader.
That's what I'm saying.
Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Captain America. A new Captain America.
A new one. So a whole thing, a whole new Falcon. So I mean, you know, all these characters that are making these transitions in this movie, and great characters, great story, but for me, being a comic book fan, I don't know how even 2 hours you're going to work all this thing into something that's going to be somewhat acceptable and or able to follow if you're not a diehard fan.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
I just think that from what I'm seeing, I'm like, man, that's a lot to put into 2 hours, man, because that's a lot of storylines.
Yeah.
You know, but I can see what they're doing. Like I said, that's a jumping off point for the next phase. I just don't think it's going to do as well as they anticipate.
Okay.
I'm like you. I think it would have a good 2-week run, but after everybody sees it, it'll, you know,
nosedive.
Yeah, and it's no fault of its own. I think it's going to be a great movie. I just think that with everything going on right now in the atmosphere of movies, I think Captain America is going to be the casualty.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. It's just my opinion.
And speaking of superheroes, I got one on my list as well, and it's going to be Thunderbolts. And here's why. I think in February you got Captain America right in the middle of February,
right.
So that's a good about couple months. Thunderbolts comes out in May, and then after that, the Fantastic Four comes out in July. I don't know if they see this or not, but I think Marvel and Disney have almost kind of set this up to fail in a way as far as marketing goes, because they're going to be pushing Fantastic Four hard, and they're going to be pushing Brave New World very hard. But you don't really see them pushing Thunderbolts as much.
No.
So, and then also its release schedule, man. I mean, it's got like some real heavy hitters to put up with just outside the Marvel universe. So I think it's going to be caught up in kind of like, what was it, Godzilla King of the Monsters? I remember when it came out. It came out like right in between like Aladdin and then like something else that was just a major big hit. And it's not that it was a bad movie.
No.
It's just people already spent their good earned money on these other things, and they just opted to watch that at home.
I agree with that. I will say though, for Thunderbolts, the only thing that'd be a saving grace for me would be the fact that it is off the beaten path in a sense, because again, that's what the Thunderbolts team is. It's a bunch of it's the misfits. It's not your top tier. It's your anti-heroes. You know, you're in the gray area. So they're not playing by the same rules. They're not having to go by the same, heroics in the sense. They just kind of do their thing, get the job done. Definitely of the three right there, that is the lower tier of
for sure.
Of the group.
Yeah, what they're going to spend their money on for sure.
That's a good counterpoint, brother. Because I really do. You know what? I think
And it's not going to be Thunderbolts' fault.
No, it's not.
It could be a great film.
I think that yeah, you know, and again, we're not saying that these films are going to suck.
Yeah,
and we're saying that
Just
what the expectations of what people may be expecting, or what the studios may be expecting, I don't feel they're going to reach.
Yeah,
it's not going to reach that.
When you spend $200 million on a movie,
I mean,
you have to make back $200 million plus to get a profit,
and it's. I mean, and
that's a long stretch.
Yes,
man.
it is. Yes, it is. It is. You know, I mean, but that's the thing. That's where we're living today. Where you hear 200 million, 200 million. But because we don't think about it like we used to back in the day. But 200 million is still 200. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot. You know. Yeah. So, but I can see where you're coming from on that, and you know, and I do. It's going to be one or the other. One of them's going to take. One of them's going to take a hit.
Yeah, one of them's bound to hit. Yeah.
So we're back on me. Okay.
Yeah. Back on you, bud.
Trying to think here. I think The Bride.
Okay.
I do believe The Bride is not going to hold audiences too long. Mm-hmm. If what we're hearing about it and what I'm being told, again, I think they're overthinking it.
I agree, man. I mean, when you got The Bride of Frankenstein, again, folks,
that's
solid. I love The Bride of Frankenstein,
dude. It's self-explanatory.
It's a fantastic character, but like, you know, when you try to overdo this to the extent that they're going to try to do, because I mean, the cast is phenomenal, and the director, I mean, Maggie Gyllenhaal is directing, and all that looks good on paper, but then you read the synopsis of the film, and it's the bride gets created if she falls in love with Victor Frankenstein, mm-hmm. and then it leads to some kind of social movement,
and that's not the story.
Like, that's
just
like,
not
why.
Yeah, and, you know, again,
and then only that, to top it off, it's probably going to be a musical, but whatever. And I'm like, you're just set up to fail here.
Well, again, I think we getting kind of, you know, we talk about that too. Is I appreciate the artistic viewpoint of trying to make the film in any way you want to try to make it, but you know, you're really skewing your audience when you take something that's established as The Bride of Frankenstein and try to, again, just revamp the whole thing. We're not. You know, again, it's a givey. You know, this is not.
This should
hard.
be easy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you see these things happen, and you see something that should be like here it is, and they screw it up, it's like,
you know,
it is more times than not. It's that you know, you overthought it, man. You thought you were smarter than the audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's what screws you up.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, my next pick is Snow White. I think this is gonna mega bomb. Bad, real bad. And it's the live action version with Gal Gadot, and she's amazing. You know, it's Wonder Woman. But the fact is that I saw this interview, and they were on some kind of red carpet, and the young lady that's playing Snow White said this. Like, she said that Snow White doesn't need the prince, and like, we're gonna do something but way different. And I'm like, God,
right. Because
what are we doing?
What? Okay, so if we're doing Snow White, we're calling it Snow White.
Yeah.
The story, because it was the very first full-length animated feature by Disney, Walt Disney, right? The story is you eat the poison apple, you go to sleep. Basically, you're dead in a sense, right?
Mm.
And then it takes the kiss from one true love.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like Sleeping Beauty. You know, similarities there.
For sure.
But to say we don't need the prince, then you don't know the story.
I know, exactly. I mean, you just
the story is the key plot to the whole thing. That's the twist at the end of
what are we going to do here?
True love, you know. And so, and I'm like you, to make a statement like that. I mean, more power to you, but boy, it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. There's not much more you can do to really make us sit back and go, wow, that was intelligent.
Yeah, and like not only that, I mean, what? Yeah, it's true. I'm so sick of, like, you know, Disney and some of these other studios trying to put like some kind of message in here, like, and whether it be like a feminist message or something like that, which is kind of what I'm gathering from this. Like, stop. Just tell us the damn story.
Well, you know what's so funny?
That's all you got to do.
What's ironic for us, you and I, being, you know, music fans and 80s fans, and growing up in the era, I was in the mix. You were probably a little bit after that. but the whole satanic panic thing back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The biggest fear is that we were listening to music that had hidden messages.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're literally, you have movies and everything that it's not a hidden message. They say wink, wink.
Oh yeah,
It's literally, it's got a message and or an agenda to it, right? But back in the day, everybody was worried about being hidden. Now it's not even hidden; it's right there in front of you. But the aspects and the way in which they take it to get that agenda across, we're sitting here going, "Why would you use that?
Exactly.
Why would you use Snow White
of all things
as a social commentary? It's Snow White.
Yeah, on the world today. It's like, come on, man! Like, get out of your ass.
Yeah,
like,
you know, look, and I have had, and I've got friends who are little people, and they hate when I say little people. They're like, I'm a midget. They don't give a shit. They know who they are, what they are. They're very proud of it. The whole thing when they came out, when they said they weren't going to call them dwarves.
Yeah.
You know, I know a couple of my friends were just hanging out with them, and you know, a few nights and just doing what we do, but they were just like, what? So now I can't even refer to myself with what I actually am at times. Like, I am a dwarf, and so what? I'm proud of it, right? I mean, they were getting offended, and I'm just like, well, that's the point. Like, what?
Oh, that's cool.
You know, they you know, because it's like, you know, if you're who you're comfortable with yourself, you don't need nobody to define you, and you damn sure don't need nobody to tell you what you ain't.
Yeah,
and I think that's where a lot of people get on their soapbox. Yeah, and because. That was the first one. I was like, it's a 7 dwarf.
Hi, Twitter. How you doing?
Yep. But that's what it was. X, yeah. But that again, like I said, I think this thing from the whole marketing, the way people have handled it, the way people spoke about it, especially the young lady who's playing. I really, no offense to her, don't know personally, don't really know much of her work. I just know that she probably needs a little bit better understanding of press and how to actually market a movie that you're going to be.
Yeah, because it almost sounded like she
you damn near canceled it. I mean, she damn near got it canceled based on some of the things that was being said.
And I'm just like, so I mean, that's why I think this is going to be the biggest bomb of the year.
Right.
I really do. So what you got, buddy?
All right, going in. Let's see. Well, since we're talking about, you know, some animated features and this, that, and the other, I'm with you. I don't necessarily understand why we need a live action How to Train Your Dragon. I like the animated one. I love that movie. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's the need. Yeah, what do we need it for?
It's too early.
Right.
It's too early for this.
It's like Moana. I like Moana.
Yeah.
Why do we need a live action Moana? I don't understand.
The Rock, like it adds the Rock with the wig and everything.
Yeah.
Today they're making it, and then like Moana 2 just came out.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
So the live action one's coming out next year. This is so confusing.
So this, I think, is going to it's going to pique some interest, but after about again a week.
Yeah.
Because
what's the point? And not only that, what's another thing that's confusing to me is that it's the same director.
It's exactly
like, what?
Are we gonna do it beat for beat? Just
I guess.
You know.
I mean, it's a good story, but again, too early.
Okay, well, and that point right there, if it is going to be a beat for beat remake and it's the same director, right? Well, that right there is an apparent example of what we call a cash grab, because you're paying to see the same movie over again. Just because it's got live action.
Yeah.
But it's so I'm with you. That's going to be down the drain for me. I think that's going to not hit too well.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. All right. So next up is a sequel no one wanted, nobody asked for, nobody even thought it was going to happen, nobody needs it to happen.
And it shouldn't happen.
Yeah. So it is none other than Dirty Dancing 2. No, we had a sequel.
That's what I was about to say. And that
but this is actually, for real. But this is actually called Dirty Dancing 2. And Jennifer Grey's back as Baby. And God knows what the story is going to be. Again, I don't get it. This is a sequel that just should never happen.
I think, and we've talked about this, because there's been no really details released, so we don't know. If I'm going to give a guess, if only thing you could do, because again, you don't have Patrick Swayze, God rest his soul. So if you don't have Johnny, then basically all I feel we're going to do is Baby is going to be like an Abby Lee and open up her own dance studio, like Dance Moms. And it's going to be like Baby taking her dance team to the competition, you know, and maybe the studio's like named after Johnny, like, you know, Johnny Castle's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just, what are you doing with this? What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, God. I mean, and so help me God, if there's a scene where they bust out a car window,
Yeah.
I'm riding in theaters because that's going too far right
Just
there.
gonna sit there with a pen pad.
Yeah, it's like this is nope. Hearts, hands, and whatever voices, hearts and hands.
Yeah, man.
Free. Don't be busting that. Don't even try it. I agree with you. What are they? Why?
Yeah, they should have kept Baby in the Corner on this one.
You got that right. You know what? As a matter of fact, you know what? If you guys are gonna make Dirty Dancing 2, I want a Howard the Duck Part 2.
Okay, I'd rather see Howard the Duck Part
Thank
2.
you very much.
Made by George Lucas.
Because there we have something to follow along at that point, right?
I know. There's at least gonna be a story here.
Yeah, this is wow. This is gonna be something.
Yeah, well, we'll see when it comes.
Like reminds me of Footloose when they made Footloose.
Oh God, that was terrible.
What are you doing?
Like, stop. Stop.
They'll learn, or if not, people just keep paying money and they'll keep making them. That's
Yeah, you hope you
learn. That's what we're here for, folks.
Yeah,
that's what we try.
We're trying to warn you, man.
We really are. We're doing our best here.
Yeah. All right. So you got one more for us, buddy?
All right. So we're talking about biggest flops. All right. So on me. So here we go. So the final film for 2025, I think it's going to bomb. Even though I'm kind of intrigued by it, Ballerina.
Okay.
I
definitely see that. I can see how it could bomb for sure.
I think, again, once you've established such a franchise in a world that John Wick has, any world that involves John Wick that doesn't have John Wick primarily as the focus point, it's like a Batman series without Batman.
I agree.
As much as I loved Gotham, as much as I love Penguin, if you're in Batman's world, but Batman is not a part of that world, I don't see the point.
Yeah, there's only been one film that really made it.
Right,
was Joker.
The Joker, and even that again.
Don't go see part 2 though.
Look, guys, if you're an art fan, you're an art film fan, God bless you, more power to you. Amen. I will say here and I will admit, I gave it the best shot I could. That was the worst film I've ever seen in my life. And I love the first one. I championed the first one. I thought, man, this is a fresh take. I like where we're going with this. And the second one just totally.
And speaking of that, I mean, like, that's a great example of the Batman universe.
Yeah.
But let's go with Spider-Man.
Okay, there you go, Madam. Perfect.
Madam Web,
Sony, have you learned your lesson? You got it? Okay, good. Yeah, Spider Universe without Spider-Man is not a Spider-Man universe. It's never going to be. No. So that's why I feel with this Ballerina thing. If it's not central to a John Wick based story or center point, I don't think it's going to have the traction. Yeah, because everybody's going to be always anticipating with John Wick.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Keanu Reeves, I think, is in it, but he's probably only going to be.
It's going to be. Yeah, it's got to be.
It's got to be.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I've been watching. Speaking of going back to the Batman thing, this whole thing on HBO Max, they got called The Creature Commandos, which is James Gunn animated. Right, yeah. And so it's great writing and everything, but they teased, and then finally, this past episode, we finally got Batman, but we didn't get Batman. We got a silhouette.
Okay.
But that was enough for us as fans to know, okay, he's there. Yeah. He's with, he's mentioned, he's a part of it. That's what I'm saying with a movie like this is, yes, John Wick will probably have a cameo, but if it's not more than the cameo, I don't think it's going to do the movie justice. And I think after it'll just kind of go off the
rails. Yeah. So. No, I'm with you on that. I think they're probably looking at about a 50 million here, and then whatever they spent. Yeah. They'll pretty much tank.
And it's crazy. That's what we're looking at as failure as a film. It's 50 million.
Dude, man. That's so true.
That's what we're at in the world today, dude.
I mean, like, you look at stuff back in the 80s, man. You see some of those numbers. They'd be minuscule.
Right.
Right. Even though, and if you adjust it for inflation, however.
But we have to ask ourselves too, because and we've talked about this as well, going back to that whole thing of AI, right? Why does it cost so damn much to have one dude that knows what they're doing to type in a program and there it goes and there it is?
It's the greatest scheme on the
planet. I see 8 traders that are doing stellar visual, things with computers. I can't do any of that stuff. Blowing my mind. But we're going to go here and pay, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million because we're gonna have CGI. It's like, dude, we got 8 characters over here doing it on 30 minutes.
I think it's these, these dumbasses that are on the boards of these higher end companies like Universal or Disney or whoever it may be that makes these decisions. They don't know how to do it, so they don't know how much it costs.
So they just say, okay, that's what it is.
It's like, okay, we'll pay him, I guess.
You know what that reminds me of? You watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Oh yeah.
And you remember the episode when they went and bought crack?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is. And he asked him, he goes, how much for 2? And the guy goes, 200?
200? Yeah.
Oh, okay, that seems fair. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, dude. I seriously think, man, that like y'all need to. If anybody from Universal or like Disney or anybody's listening right there that work for these companies,
right,
you need to overhaul the boards on
absolutely,
these things, man, because holy crap, especially Sony. Good lord.
I think Sony just has too many fingers in the pie, buddy. Yeah, I don't think they even know who's running the show over there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, apparently, because that's probably one of the best things about this year. We don't have any Sony superhero movies.
No.
Thank God.
No.
So I don't have to waste my time on it
anymore. I think that for Sony in itself, not to get too off our track, I think that right there, Sony, they placed a gamble, thinking and realizing, because when they got the rights to these characters, Marvel was in a bad spot. This is early 90s. They were damn near bankrupt. All right, so we almost lost Marvel Comics if not for Sony. Let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
But what Sony miscalculated was, as things started to evolve and the MCU started to come into light, instead of trying to work a deal, hold on.
Yeah,
you don't need them. Hold on. Yeah,
it's like the little kid that won't share.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, when everybody else has the toy you have, but an even better toy, nobody gives a shit about your toy anymore. You take the toy and go play by yourself. Exactly. That's what happened to Sony.
Damn right. So, amen, man.
Amen.
All right, folks. That's our list for the biggest flops of 2025. Hope you enjoyed the show. Leave comments below, please. Tell us some of your flops that you think is going to happen this year. Tell us we were wrong.
Absolutely.
Do whatever you need to do, man.
Time. I grew up in a house. I grew up in a house full of women. I'm still in a house full of women. I'm wrong all the time. It does not affect me.
Yeah, you ain't gonna hurt our feelings.
No, absolutely.
All right. So, that being said, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications.
Ding, ding.
Follow us at F140 on Instagram, and you can follow us on Spotify and Patreon at Frequency 140 Podcast. And as always, I send it to you, Mr. Bennett.
All right, y'all. Well, again, another great episode. Thank y'all for tuning in, hanging out with us, and just doing what we do, right? So, as always, geeks, freaks, and nerds, let's unite and take over this world because they're waiting for us. See ya.